You guys the truth about what I've been going through for the last 7 months as Miss Grand International. Um, I know this is gonna come as a shock to a lot of you, my decision to step down and return my crown and give up my title. But I also know at the same time that a lot of you knew something wasn't right. You could sense, you know, I read all the comments, so I know a lot of you could tell that my reign wasn't going very, very well, and there were issues with the organization on their end, and I just want to be completely transparent for all of you. I want you to know the reasoning behind this. You've supported me so much, even now, and you deserve to know the truth. And more than that, I'm doing this because there are so many girls all over the world who have the same dream that I did when I entered this competition, and I wanted to win the first crown for India, and I did win the first crown for India. And I want those girls to know the truth about this organization, about the people who have created this system, and I want them to understand what they're signing up for. Because when I started and when I joined and when I won, nobody told me, nobody warned me, and I had to figure it out on my own. And I don't want any other girl to find herself in the same position that I've been in, because these have been the worst few months of my life. I have been at rock bottom. The last time I was truly happy was the night I won. And since then, it's just been going downhill. It's been getting worse and worse. And I've spent the last few months just completely depressed and alone, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So I want you to know the truth, and it's taking a lot of courage to first of all give up the crown that I worked so hard for, and then also to talk about it so openly. But I don't want anyone else to be in the same position as me. So that's why I'm doing this. You all know how much effort I put into this dream of winning, how hard I worked from the beginning. And that's true for so many girls who join. And all I've gotten in return is just constant harassment, mental torture, mistreatment, and it's on a systemic level. Like, I don't think they can ever change this. So I want you to know what I've gone through, and I want you to know how much I've been silently struggling behind my smile. And I know it's seemed like everything is okay, but like, you have to make it look that way when the whole world is watching you and there's always just cameras on you. It's like you have to seem like everything is okay, but I want you to know the truth now. And I'm gonna tell you everything in this video. First of all, when I joined the competition, I had absolutely no idea that countries were paying for votes, okay? And then the Miss Grand International organization happily accepts them in the form of votes or in the form of, donations. And you guys don't know that. And of course, like, when I found out, like, we couldn't afford to pay for the votes. We didn't have that knowledge, and that's why it was so difficult to compete in terms of votes. You guys know, when I was in the personal interview, Nawat asked me, why do you not have votes? And it's because I wasn't paying to buy votes like every other person was. And honestly, like, it's not even their fault. Like, of course, if they have the option, why wouldn't they do it? Like, everybody wants to win. And the countries who've paid huge amounts of money for votes or for donations, like, of course, if their girl doesn't win, they would be upset because they've basically paid for it and they expect something in return. Nothing is promised, but they expect that, yeah, we've paid, we'll get some return on it. And I don't blame the countries at all. Like, everybody's doing what they can to win, but it is the organization's fault for accepting this and for setting this standard. Because what about the girls who can't afford it? What about the countries who can't afford it, or the national directors who don't know about it, or who don't have access to those kinds of funds, like me? Truly, the only reason I won, despite all of this voting and all of this that was happening, the only reason I won is because of the amount of public support I had. I mean, I think about it now and it still gives me goosebumps, the way people cheered for India, and the way, like, if you asked anybody, they would say they were rooting for India. And on social media and in Thailand, in real life, there was just so much support for me, and I'm so grateful for that, because that is truly the only reason that I won. Honestly, I want you to think about all the franchises and the national directors who lost their licenses this year, or who gave it up or whatever. Like, it's actually insane, the number of directors who've been in the business for years and they chose to give up their license. Why do you think that is? Who do you think the problem here is, the common problem? I mean, truly, it is impossible to work with the Miss Grand International organization. The way they are, the way they treat people, they only care about money. Like, that is their only thing. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit more. But it made so much sense to me later on when I saw that so many people were dropping their licenses, because nobody wants, even after winning, nobody wants their girls to be in this kind of position, you know? And I had no one to tell me, you know, but I need to be the person who speaks up for what the truth is, and who puts honesty and integrity above my own image. And that's what I'm trying to do today. I've been in Thailand for many months. As you know, I won in October, and then I stayed the whole month of November and 2 weeks of December. And then I was also there for more than a month, all throughout March. So I've spent my fair share of time over there. And during that time, it's unbelievable how they treated me. They couldn't even provide me basic amenities. You know, you think after winning that, oh my God, like, it's a dream come true. The organization is going to take care of everything for me. But that's not true. Immediately after winning, they moved me into a cramped hotel room, a small little hotel room, where even all my suitcases, they couldn't open properly. Like, there wasn't enough space for that. And I lived in that hotel room for more than a month. More than 1 month. And from there, they shifted me to a dilapidated house, okay, which was way on the outside of the city, like an hour or an hour and a half away from the city center, from MGI Hall, the office, everything. And over there in the house, I had no car. They didn't give me any way of getting around. So I was basically stuck in the house until they decided that they need me for something, even in the month of March. I had no car. They did not give me access to, like, a Thai phone number or anything. So I had to buy a phone over there. I had to buy a Thai phone number so that I could stay in touch with my friends and family, because I was staying there for so much time, you know. They did not provide me any food at all. You know, I requested them multiple times that, you know, like, there's no pots and pans in the house. I can't cook. Like, I could maybe go and grocery shop and then cook for myself, but there were no pots and pans. There was nothing. So I said that, you know, could we at least please, like, like I'm vegetarian, so it's very simple. Like we could just make sure that the fridge is stocked with, you know, fruits, and just fruits, so I can like cut it and eat it, you know. And my mom messaged them also that, you know, she's all alone and can we just make sure there's some fruit in the fridge for her. They couldn't even do that. I had to order food on Grab, which is like their Uber Eats. I had to order food every single day, okay? It would take 2 hours to come because it's so far away, all right? And how am I supposed to stay healthy or take care of myself when I can't like eat home cooked food or anything? And it was just so bad. Like most days I would either end up eating whatever junk I had, or I wouldn't order food because it's so far away that the drivers would end up canceling, you know. And I requested multiple times, you know, I have the messages like, please can we make sure there's food? Like it's their responsibility, you know. I'm there with them, with that organization. They should at least make sure that they're giving their queen food to eat, you know, if not meals or something. And I didn't, like, I couldn't keep pushing, so I dropped it, and that's how I spent my weeks over there, you know. It was so difficult. And then of course, like, they have a problem. Like I asked them, you know, I'm living here for a long time, like I need access to a gym maybe or something, you know, because obviously you have to keep taking care of yourself, like that's the job, you know. But they didn't arrange that for me. They couldn't. I had to beg and beg and beg for them to give me a yoga mat until one of the people working for them gave me his like personal yoga mat from his house, you know, so I could do some like workouts over there. And then at the same time they were hounding me and like constantly just talking about my weight and my body all the time. I remember one time, like, they sent their representative to me, and he just comes up to me and he starts pinching me in different places, and he's like, oh, you need to lose weight here, you need to lose weight here. And like that, what am I supposed to say to that, you know? Like that, it's so embarrassing, and it makes you feel so small and so bad. And I understand, like, obviously I have to stay fit for the job, I have to stay in shape, but it's so difficult, like, when you don't have access to anything and you're just locked in a house basically all day long, you know? Like, what are you supposed to do? There were days at a time when nobody would message me from their team. They just kind of left me in that house. They just left me there. There were no events. They called me to Thailand. There were maybe 3 or 4 events. And I was there for a month. So what do you think I did? And like, everybody's asking me, why aren't you posting anything, Rachel? Why are there no updates from you? And I would just say, oh, I'm really bad at it, or I'm sorry, you know. But the truth is, what should I post? What should I post? That I'm sitting here in the house, like, there's nobody to take pictures of me, there's nothing to do, I'm just sitting here, I'm depressed, there's like nothing to do, like, you know, I mean, and nobody knew. And it was just a really, really, really difficult situation. I love Thailand, I love my Thai fans, but being there was so difficult for me. Just going from that environment to one day they'd say, okay, we're sending the car to pick you up for an event, and then you have to be ready, like, get ready, go on the red carpet, smile, and pretend everything is okay. And I never spoke with the team. I never spoke with Nawat or Teresa. We literally would meet on the red carpet and just smile and pretend like everything is okay, and like we're best friends, and they're Papa Nawat and Mommy Teresa and me, and we're just one happy family, you know. But the truth is, they don't know if I'm frankly alive or dead until we meet on the red carpet and smile for the cameras together. That's all they care about, is getting that picture. And it's just such a false narrative, because you guys are so sweet and you keep saying, oh, you look so happy together, you look so like they're really taking care of you, and like it's just not the truth. And I I I kept pretending like everything is okay, but there's only a certain point I can do that until, I told them that, what, I'm here. There's just a few events, like maybe I could go home in the middle or something so that I can, keep taking care of myself and I can come back. But they didn't let me go home. They didn't give me anything to do while I was there. I basically was just like stuck there alone, and I had to take care of myself. And my mom was so worried about me. After I won, those weeks were some of the most depressing and the hardest weeks of my life, because I was working so much and there was just so much toxicity and negativity in that organization. And every day I would just I would get more disillusioned, and it would get harder and harder and harder for me. And my mom, we would speak to each other, and she saw and she noticed that something is not okay with me, just like she knows me really well, so she knew something wasn't okay. And she came there and she stayed with me for a few weeks in November. And I think that really that really saved my life, because it would have been really horrible otherwise. There's also no safety whatsoever. And I'll explain what I mean by this. Is number one, in the house is really far away. Like I said, it's in a quiet little neighborhood on the outside of the city, far away from everything. Nobody would check on me for days. Sometimes I would get a message, hey, are you okay? And when I was there, obviously, I'm paying for my own food. I'm, paying for a lot of things by myself, paying for my own outfits and everything, And I had to bring cash with me, in dollars or in Thai baht. And my parents, this is so embarrassing, but I expected after I won that I'd be able to support myself financially, with the prize money and everything. It's like a dream come true. And obviously you don't try and win for the prize money, but it adds to it that, yeah, you've won something really big. And